How can you easily create a survey to gather information from customers, clients, or even fellow employees? One solution is to use Microsoft Forms. Forms is an online tool, and you will connect to Microsoft Forms using your Microsoft 365 login. In Microsoft Forms, there are two basic choices: form and a quiz. A form could be a survey or a poll that can be useful when surveying your customers, employees, and prospects. These forms provide a way to ask different types of questions and to gather the results. A quiz is also a form, but quizzes are typically used in education or for testing knowledge from a training course. So, in addition to all the standard forms features, a quiz also includes options to indicate correct answers, track points, and to provide input to the responses. This video is the first in a training series on working with Microsoft Forms. In one of our other videos, we'll explore creating a quiz. Look for the description below for links to the other videos in this series. To launch Microsoft Forms, you can do this in several ways. Log into Microsoft 365 and you can use the app launcher, what we commonly refer to as the waffle. Or in your browser, type in forms.microsoft.com. You may need to log into your Microsoft 365 applications. We can also launch Microsoft Forms a little differently by creating polls in Teams and Outlook. In this series, we'll look at different options for creating a form. We can build it from scratch, create it from a template, or even copy from an existing form. To start, let's look at building a form from scratch. So I'm in my Forms environment. I got here by typing in that address into my browser. That is forms.microsoft.com. Now, another way I could get to that is from my app launcher. When you're logged into Microsoft 365, you can move to the app launcher, which is our waffle, and then navigate to more apps. You may see Forms in this list, but it's likely you'll need to go a few steps further. And then here I'll choose All Apps. And finally, navigate to Forms. So you can see how that shortcut through the browser could be a time saver for you. In the Forms interface, you'll see those options for creating a new form. Here's our new form, a new quiz. We can even import a Word document or even a PDF to build the structure for a form. We also have the option to build a form from existing templates. So if we view all, here you can see if any of these categories might closely match something that you are already interested in creating. We'll return back to our main screen. Additionally, if you've already created some forms, you will see them listed here. They may show up under Recent or My Forms. You can even right-click on a form and make it one of your favorites. By right-clicking, we're also able to make a copy, which is how we can build off of an existing form. But let's start with the basics. Although a form could include multiple questions, we're going to start with a one-question survey. We want to ask our team something really critical, and that is, what are their favorite desserts? So I'll choose New Form from here. Next, add your heading and description. Now, if we want to add a little bit more visual interest here, over on the right-hand side here, I can insert or paste in, drag in some media. So it could be an image, it could be a video. For this, I'll upload an image that I have, and here we have a good selection here of food. So that will be the start for this survey. My intention ultimately is that I might want to ask multiple questions here. Next, let's add a question. For this, I want the employees to be able to choose from a variety of different options. So what are your favorite desserts? Once again, I could add an image. It's not required, but you can see for every one of these options, we would be able to add media or bring in an image. And this one looks pretty yummy. So that's completely optional, but it is an element that can be added to this form. Now, I'd like to be able to offer them multiple answers. That is, for them to be able to choose more than one option. So that's where we'll pick this. As this is not a critical form, I won't make this required, but sometimes that might be needed with lengthier forms. Next, let's add those options, and I'll continue. So now I have all of my very important options here, and I'll also add the other option. So if someone has something that hasn't been listed here, this gives them an opportunity to provide some additional information. We could limit how many options they have, but in this case, there's no limit. It is a dessert buffet. Now notice as well, I could add other questions to the survey, for instance, on other food options. So later in the series, I'll show you how to build a more complex form with different types of questions. So this might be all I need to do. I've created the form, I've added my question, I provided those options, but let's add some formatting to this. Here we can find that under Style. And one of our options certainly is to work with some of the suggested AI features. But first, let's keep it pretty simple here. I'll just pick a different option to change that background color. But now if I want to, I can move through and instead of the background color, maybe there's something related to this. So it's picking up on the word food and providing some different options related to that topic. And if you find something that fits, simply select that, and then that becomes kind of the background for your form. And then those color options also apply. So let's look at this form. Choose Preview, and here is that form based upon how it might look on a computer. Or let's look at the mobile version. And we'll go back. So from here, you can make other changes to the style or the appearance. For right now, I'll close that. So now I'm ready to start getting some answers. Let's look at those choices. Here, I'll collect responses, and then we can determine here, first of all, who can respond. I might want that to be simply internal, which requires a sign-in to make sure that they are also part of the organization, or I could change it to anyone can respond. The difference is that this will keep these responses as anonymous. We also have different ways to share this information. So I could copy that link and then include it in a Teams channel, in an email. Those would be some possibilities. I can even shorten that URL before I copy that link. Another option is to create an invitation. So this is a way then to actually send it as an email from Forms. And then this would be a way for you to be able to send that out and launch that. Or we could create a QR code or even create the code to paste this into a web page. For this one, I think I'm going to just copy that link and include it in an email. Before you collect those responses, there are a couple quick things that might be helpful. So this is a pretty basic form, but if we move to our more options or a ... we do have settings here. So first of all, we already decided who could respond. You might also want to set some time limits, maybe that it needs to be completed by next Friday, for instance. So that's one of the things that you could control. If you have multiple questions, you could show a progress bar, which is really helpful when you're filling out these online forms. You probably have that experience, like how much longer is this going to be? Additionally, you could customize a thank you message and allow the respondents to not only save their responses, but they could also come back and edit those responses. So let's say I want to customize that because this looks pretty generic. And once I have these settings in place, then I would go back to collect responses because I may have changed some things with those choices, and I'll go ahead and copy that link. Let's head back to the main screen for Microsoft Forms. Once you've shared your form and you've allowed time for the responses, now it's time to be able to view that information. So here we have a similar form. I can either just click directly on it, or here I can see I have 4 responses. So this is a way to track it as well. Maybe we need to prompt people like, hey, this is really important information that we need from you. So if I click on this 4 responses, first I see the form and we can see the content for it. This is formatted a little differently with a graphic. And here are my responses. Notice as well, I could send a reminder to all of my recipients. So if I had sent it as an invitation, then this would be a reminder, like, please take a few moments to fill this out. Here are my results. So I can see what the answers were, where there might be some emphasis or priorities with that. And if as you have multiple questions, then those will be shown graphically depending upon the type of question that they might be. Additionally, we could view that data directly in Excel. So all I need to do here is click on this link. The results are shown here on Excel for the web. In this case, I had set it up to be anonymous, had set it out as a link in an email, and I can get information about how long it might have taken for people to complete, and then the details of their response. Now we have this data to be able to save and manage in Excel. It's that easy to work with Microsoft Forms. How will you leverage Forms to survey your customers, employees, and prospects? For more tips on being productive with Microsoft Forms or to sign up for my tips newsletter, visit thesoftwarepro.com/forums. If this training was helpful, please like this video and subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching.